Okay, so I'd like to do one example of calculating the determinant of a 4 by 4 matrix. This example is actually not in the workbook. I made it up just as a way of maybe helping you if you feel like it would be useful to maybe see one more example of how this would work for a bigger matrix. Okay, so let's work through this step by step. Okay, it's going to be the same process that we use for the 3 by 3 in the sense that we're going to start by making a sine matrix. All right, so I'm going to go over here to the right. Okay, and a sine matrix always starts with a plus in the upper left-hand corner and just alternates signs. Okay, across rows and down columns. Okay, there's our sine matrix that goes with our 4 by 4. Okay, and now we have to make a decision. We can calculate this determinant of A by expanding along any row or down any column, and the question is, what would be the best choice? Well, as we've seen before, we would like to choose a row or a column that has a lot of zeros in it, and so probably the second column is the best choice in this case. All right, so we're going to choose to expand along that second column, and so the determinant of this 4 by 4 that we're about to calculate, we're going to start by just writing down the 4 numbers that we see in that column. Okay, so -2, 0. Okay, I'm going to give myself just a little bit more space here. And 0. Next step is to go over to our sine matrix and to just put the signs in front of those numbers one by one. Okay, so we've got a minus, a plus, a minus, and a plus. Okay, and then we are ready to look at our tilde matrices. All right, so starting with the -2 that we have over here on the very left, okay, we're going to go to our matrix, okay, and cross out the row and the column, and then write down the matrix that's left over, which in this case is a 3 by 3. All right, so doing that, we are going to get -1, 3, 1, 2, 0, -2, and 4, -1, 5. Okay, and technically, we would then need to do that for each of these 3 other entries, the +0, the -0, and the +0, but those numbers are 0, and so it really doesn't matter what they're multiplied by. All right, so I'm just going to write blank 3 by 3 matrices because those are just going to go away anyway. And so what we're left with then is just minus -2, which is a +2, times the determinant of this 3 by 3. Okay, and to calculate the determinant of the 3 by 3, we just start the entire process again. Okay, so we will first write down the sine matrix for a 3 by 3 matrix, plus in the upper left-hand corner and alternating signs. And we have the same decision to make now as to which row or column that we want to expand along. Again, it's a good idea to choose rows and columns with lots of zeros if you can. So I'm going to choose the second row in this case because that has a 0 in it. Okay, and so we've got a 2 out front, and that's going to get multiplied by the entire formula for the determinant of this 3 by 3. Okay, which we're going to calculate in the same way. We'll start by writing out the numbers of that row that we chose to expand along. Okay, so 2, 0, and -2. Then we're going to look over at our sine matrix, minus, plus, minus, copy down those signs. Okay, and then it's time for the tilde matrices. Okay, so let's maybe look at the first one together here. Okay, so starting with this 2 that we've got here, we're going to find the 2, cross out the row and the column, and what's left is a 2 by 2 matrix that looks like 3, 1, negative 1, 5. Okay, and then we move over to the 0 entry, but there, it doesn't matter what the 2 by 2 matrix is. It's going to get multiplied by 0. All right, and then we come to minus 2, and let's see if we can write down that matrix. Okay, there, we're going to be focusing our attention on the negative 2 and crossing out the row and the column that that entry is in. Okay, and maybe you can kind of do that mentally and see what's going to be left over. This time, if we cross out the row and the column that that minus 2 is in, we are going to be left with a matrix that looks like that. Okay, and if we can complete those calculations, we will have an answer here. All right, so continuing, we've got a minus 2 times the determinant of this 2 by 2. That's going to be 3 times 5 is 15, minus a negative 1. It's going to give us a plus 1. Then we've got a plus a 0 in the middle. Okay, minus a negative 2 is a plus 2. And then finally, the determinant of this minus 1, 3, 4, negative 1. That's going to give us minus 1 times minus 1 is 1, minus 12. Okay, and the rest here is arithmetic. So let's see. Minus 2 times 15 plus 1 is 16. That's going to give us a negative 32. Okay, 2 times 1 minus 12 is negative 11. Okay, and I'll leave the rest of the arithmetic here to you. That's going to turn out to be negative 108 when we're all done. Okay, and there's our determinant of